Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rebecca. In today's video I'm going to show you how to draft a basic bodice block with a waist dart. For this tutorial you'll need a few rulers, a French curve, a grading ruler, and a pattern master. You will also need some pattern paper, markers, measuring tape, and a pair of paper scissors. Now to get started, I have a piece of paper here that I folded in half. So I have 2 layers of it. Now, depending on your body measurements, you're going to need around 24 inches. It needs to be about 24 inches long. Here's 24 inches for me. Measure from your highest point of your shoulder all the way down to your hip, and that's how long you're going to want your paper to be. And then a quarter of your waist measurement, like a little bit more than that, is how wide you want your paper to be. So to get started, I'm going to actually mark my vertical measurements. So I'm going to come from the top portion of my paper and I'm going to start marking my vertical measurements. So from the highest point of my shoulder to my bust is 10 inches. The highest point of my shoulder to my waist is 16 inches. And the highest point of my shoulder to my hip is 24 inches. It could be different for you, but those are my measurements. This line right here is going to be my hip line. This is going to be my waistline. And this is going to be my bust line. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark my hip measurement here. So I'm going to take a quarter of my hip measurement and then I'm going to add a quarter of an inch, and that quarter of an inch is going to serve as ease. So my hip measurement is 37 inches, and then if I quarter that, I'm going to have 9.25 inches, and then to add another quarter to that will give me 9.5 inches. For my waist, I'm going to take a quarter of my waist measurement. My waist is 26 inches, a quarter of that is 6.5. Then I'm going to add another quarter of an inch for ease. That will give me 6.75. And then I'm going to add an inch for my dart. That's going to give me 7.75 inches. And then for my bust is 34 inches. Then if I quarter that, I'm going to have 8.5 inches. Now I'm going to add ease to my bust later, but for now I'm just going to put the 8.5 inches now. Now I'm going to start working on drawing our neckline. So to draw our neckline, we're going to measure from our edge here 3 inches, and then on this edge here three inches. So I have a 3x3 square right here, and then from here to here I'm going to mark 1 inch. Now I'm going to draw in my front armhole. Front neckline. I'm drawing my front neckline right now, and then this right here is my back neckline. Now measure from the edge of my paper here all the way across, and I'm going to measure 8 inches. Now from that 8-inch point, I'm going to come down by 1 inch. And I'm going to draw a diagonal line. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure from the corner here, and I'm going to mark 7 inches. Now my shoulder measurement is 14 inches. Half of my shoulder measurement is 7 inches, and that is that 7-inch I mark right there. And then from that point, I'm going to draw a straight line down. Now I need to figure out the length of this line. So I'm going to take my bust measurement and I'm going to divide that by 6. And then I'm going to add 1.5 inches to that. And that's going to give me 7.16 inches, which is a little bit more than 7 1/8 of an inch. I need to extend this just a tad bit longer to right there. Now I'm going to square off this line. And onto this line, I'm going to mark my bust measurement, which is 8.5 inches. Plus, I'm going to add a 1/2 inch of ease to this. Now, if you want your bodice to be more fitted, you can use a 1/2 inch. If you want it to be looser, you can use 3/4 of an inch, or you can use 1 inch. So in total, I have 9 inches that I put here. Now we're going to start working on drafting the armhole here. So this right here should be a right angle, but I want 45 degrees. So I'm going to cut that in half. And this should be the halfway point. And then I'm going to use blue to mark the front of the armhole, and I'm going to use this green to mark the back. So for the front armhole, we need this to come out by about a 1/2 inch. Usually a little bit more than that, but around about 1/2 inch. And for the back armhole, it needs to be about 1 inch. So the back armhole needs to be around about right there. Now moving back to working on our front armhole, we need half of this measurement here. This was my 7 1/8 of an inch. You can use your tape measure and then fold it in half. And then from that point, we're going to come out by 3/4 of an inch. And then now we're going to use our French curve. So the most important thing is you want it to touch this point right here. It's slightly shy right here. But you want it to touch here, here, and here. So that's for our front armhole. Now we're going to work on our back one. And you want it to touch this halfway point right here. And roughly about that point we marked right there. So our back armhole comes straight down from here and curves out. Now we're going to connect all of our lines together. So we're going to connect from this point right here to our waist measurement. You can see it comes out just a little bit short from where our bust measurement is, and that's going to allow for some ease. Now I'm going to round out this hip area some. And then make this area a little bit more round. Now what you have to do is add the waist dart, and you have to do that to both the front and the back because they are slightly different. So to do that, you're going to need your bust band, so your nipple to nipple measurement, and you're going to divide that by 2. Now for me, my bust band is 8 inches, so half of that is 4 inches. And I just marked that on all 3 of my lines. Now the bottom of the dart should stop 2 inches. The bottom of the dart should stop 2 inches before the hip line, and it should start 1 inch below the bust line. And that is for the front dart. And on the waist, you're going to come in by 1/2 inch on either side of this line. So now the front pattern is completely finished. Now to do the back, I like to cut out the pattern first. Making sure that I cut the back neckline and the back armhole. Okay, so now the next thing we do is I'm going to cut my paper in half. So here I slightly shifted my paper over at the center front, and then I marked my chest line, my bust line, and my waistline to the paper underneath. Now I've turned my paper to the other side, that way I can mark those same points on the other side. Now I'm connecting my points to make straight lines. So I'm going to mark my bust band again. And just like before, your dart is going to stop 2 inches before the bottom. But unlike the last one where we stopped 1 inch, we started our dart 1 inch below the bust line, we're going to now start it 1 inch below our chest line. So we're going to come 1 inch below our chest line. And just as we did on the last pattern, we're going to mark 1/2 inch on either side of this middle line. So this is our back. And now our back is entirely finished. Now let's go back to our front. Now for our front, we now need to cut out the front neckline. And the front armhole. There you have it. That is your basic bodice block with a waist dart. If you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, share, and subscribe, and follow me on all my social media accounts.